Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well, having a beautiful day. Today I'm going to share with you, I had a custom order for request on my Etsy store. And so I'm going to share with you how to make a quilted doggy bed. This doggy bed is so beautiful. It's for a service dog. So let me show you how I did it. Let's get started. Cut all of your fabrics by the width of fabric. You can see I've folded mine here, okay? And I've cut 3 different sets of fabrics. Once you're done cutting all of your fabrics by the width of fabric, what I would say though is that if you are going to use this cutter here, this cordless cutter, I would say to mark it as you've seen me done. Okay, so with a fabric cuts, so then it can go by very quickly. Layer all of your fabrics together in line so that you can do one set of cuts. And again, mark the size or the width of the squares that you are going to cut. I would say this makes it so much more easier and quicker. And then you can follow the lines, the marked lines, using the cordless cutter and get the job done so much more quickly. All right, we're going to dive straight into the layout here very quickly. It's a very fast project. If you blink, you're going to miss it, but it's also a beautiful, beautiful project. All right, so let me continue doing this. So for convenience sake, because I know someone's going to ask me, I'm going to put the link where you can buy this cordless fabric cutter in the description box. All right, so that is easier and I don't have to keep repeating myself. Also, if you would like, the pattern will also be in the description box as well. So after cutting, the best next thing, of course, is to lay out your squares into the orientation that you would like. Now, there is no set rules to use the pattern layout that I have done here. In fact, mixing it all up and giving it a scrappy feel is even better. This is also a perfect project if you would like to make this into scraps. Again, you can use any size, but of course you can follow the sizes that I used in the pattern. Okay, you can even make it into bigger squares as well. It's really, really a simplistic project, so don't overthink it. But lay it all out into the concept of the orientation that you would like, and then I will show you what we move on to the next stage. Now, the buyer requested for it to be a meter long. Now, as I assume based on the fabric color choices, because what happened is that when she requested the custom order, I then said, well, what sort of color concept would you like? Now, knowing that Australians like really bright color because the customer is Australian, I said to her, what sort of color concept would you like for the bed quilt? And she said, I like purple. So I decided was to look for some floral themes and send it off to her, which she was thoroughly in love with. So I can only assume that the dog is for a girl dog, all right, based on the colors that she opted to go with and the fact that it's floral. So she fell in love with the immediate choice. I didn't have to go back with her and change any other colors. Again, she was really happy with it. To sew together, pick up in twos and chain piece. As you can see, the whole thing moves because it's chain piece together. Alright, so this is what I did. I flipped over, flipped over, flipped over, and I laid them all in order of which I picked it up. So like so, so, like so. So every time, flip over, flip over. You get the idea, basically. So that way you don't get it mixed up. And then I will line it up in that manner. Okay, and for the last bit you can pull them together like so. So that once you pick it up, then you can go over and sew quite easily. So what I can do is just put the remaining pieces like that, making sure to remember that I continue up here. So start all the way down, continue, that's my last piece, and pick up and take to your station, so that way you don't get it confused. And then continue with the same for the last row. Once all the chain piecing is done, I will then just sew them together and then complete the whole top. So after chain piecing, what I have done is just to separate them. You could leave them whole if you want. The first row I just left them connected to the chain and I just stitched it together. This one I separated to see which one moves quicker. So all I'm going to do basically is either start at one end or this end here, and I've just layered them so it's easier to keep them in the rows that I originally laid them out. So I'm just going to pick up and sew. Okay, so let me show you how now to sew together if you're using the chain method, like so. So the top here is already separated, okay? But I left these here at the bottom so that you can see what it looks like. So all I'm simply going to do is just join the chain like so. And just continue all the way down. I mean, either method works. It's entirely down to you which one you think works best. I would say I prefer the first one whereby I separate the chain. To me, that just helps me to make sure that I am not mixing it up together. But either way works. The first one I did it in the chain method. And then I separated it just to make sure it was correct and it was fine. And then I thought, let me separate the individual blocks to see what actually happens and how it works. So once you've sewn that one, you flip it back. The next area is this one here comes on top. And of course you flip over, however you sew, I don't know. Some people are right-handed, left-handed, so it really depends on your style. The most important thing is that you check before you stitch the whole top together. When I put my finger here, I'm just making sure the seams are nested on both sides. I'm just going to make sure I go over that seam there. Make sure you hold the blocks together. As we know, fabric moves. And again, the last two pieces. What I would say though, because obviously the chain twists around, doesn't it? So I would say make sure that whatever area you are, you can see the opposite. And that way you know you're on the right track. At least one of it should be opposite, because remember we're going down in a slope method with this layout, so make sure you see the opposite of the fabric that you're sewing together there. And then I know that's the bottom because that's the last bit I just sewed, and that's going to lay it back out again. Now, what I would say is when you are sewing, just make sure that if you do the separation and chain, if you had to separate it because you've twisted a block, just make sure that you lay it all out again on your table to make sure everything lined up properly with the balance of the blocks before you sew the whole thing together. So what I would do is put this chain piece area to the side, and I will then continue to do my sewing with this one here, and I'm going to start at the top. I do find it's easier to start at the top, so that way I don't get mixed up, and I just flip over and continue to sew. So once I'm finished, before I join these two pieces together, what I would do is simply lay back on the table to make sure it is the correct alignment. If you look here, you can see both of these fabrics together, okay? So ideally, this one should be there. For somehow, I swapped it around, and I would only imagine that was in the layout, not so much the sewing, because I think I picked them up all the same way. So I think it's in the layout before I stitch. So I'm going to have to take away this block here and this block here. It's a shame I didn't see it when I laid it out initially, because at the end of the day it's such a vibrant color that it plays tricks on the eyes. So if you're going to do something like this, best advice, take a picture. Okay, so this is where I'm at now. It looks pretty good. I must admit, I'm pretty impressed by this. So I've pinned the open area here. So I'm going to top stitch all the way around. When I'm done with that, I am then going to go into the middle and sew a straight stitch again all around the second row. So I'm going to use my quilting lines here, or my seams, as my next, and then I'm going to go ahead and do it again in the second one, and then I'm just going to go ahead on the third one. So I'm going to keep going until I get to the square in the middle here. All right, I may just add a little stitch in the middle here. I'm not sure yet, but I'll see how I go. This is just to give it some high and low areas when it comes to quilting. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to double check and make sure there's no holes in it, and which I've already done. You saw me checking the sides and everything else just to ensure that it's done. I hope the video didn't cut out at that time, because the battery told me it needed changing. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I will show you the end result properly close up, and you can actually see how I actually made it. Okay, so now I'm going to do some quilting on it. And I have again lengthened my stitch length to 4 and my width to 4. Right, so it's now completed. You can hear my birdie in the background, so I can't shut up a bird. So you're gonna have to just deal with it. All right, so this is what the finished product look like, guys. This job bed quilt measures approximately 40 by 27, I think is what I measured originally. So this is what it looks like. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous.
came out beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. I texted her and showed her some pictures and she was ecstatic. She said, "You're making me cry. This is so beautiful." So she's really, really happy with the outcome, as am I. Beautiful, beautiful quilted bed, beautiful size for the dog. And I think he or she, which I think is a she, is going to be very happy. Nice and spongy and light and durable. On the back, it is a waterproof backing that she requested, which is what I have done also. But it looks absolutely amazing. Carl was even impressed. He's like, "Wow, I love the back as well." So very, very lovely, washable, easily maintained, beautiful dog bed, absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors. It's so retro. Just so retro. And the layout, if you notice, it's on a diagonal line going through, so it just looks really awesome. All right guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Do like and subscribe for more. Let me know down below if there's something that will be useful to you. You can actually make your doggy beds. No more excuses in buying a doggy bed anymore. You can use scraps and make your own. Think how beautiful and happy your dog is going to be when you make your own doggy bed. Bye for now. Happy quilting. And I will definitely see you guys in the next video.